This is the magicwordpodcast.com.
Well, good morning. This is actually day 3 officially, I think, on my agenda. I'm calling this day 4 because I was actually calling day 1 of the pre-convention activities that were on Friday night. I believe it was Thursday night, Friday night? Friday night. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, kind of get confused over here. Anywho, so we were here this morning, and last evening there were some other activities. We had a full day of things that were going on. And as we were talking yesterday, that we didn't finish up discussing everything that had happened last night, but we did have a little bit of a recap with my buddy Mark D'Souza, and he's back with me here today to kind of recap yesterday's in more detail. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Scott. How are you?
Fine, thank you. You sound like a morning DJ. Good
morning, Scott. How are you?
So let's kind of kick it off, and then we'll start from the morning, kind of going.
I think we ended with Gustavo Rale's lecture, which we talked a little bit about that, and then went into the Stars of Tomorrow show.
That's right, was Stars Tomorrow, and then we were just getting ready for the close-up show. I think it was International Close-up show.
Right, and Scott Alexander. Oh, sorry, Juliana
Chen's lecture. Sorry,
they switched. Yes. Yeah, Juliana
That's right,
and Scott. She lectured, and then.
But she was talking about stagecraft, basically.
Yeah, primarily, and then she went into a little bit about the cards. About the card manipulation, and her perspective on the stagecraft and talking about a lot of these acts that are doing competitions and those kinds of things, really very educational for a lot of people, and a lot of it was geared toward like silent act type things, manip acts, but a lot of what she was talking about is just, applicable to everything.
Well, that's very true, because, for example, when she was talking about eye contact, the way that she would kind of hold someone's eyes as she would kind of walk across stage and then look at the other way and then kind of move back again, so people are following your body, but other people feel like they're looking directly at you.
Exactly. You're kind of like splitting the attention between your eyes and the body, and theoretically it's great if you're doing that kind of performance. If you're pretty much in constant motion, which in her act she is, and a lot of manipulators are.
Well, except the newer one seems like a lot of Asians, Koreans, they stand perfectly still. But see, that goes. I think it was Vito Lupo that I'd heard in a lecture talking about similar kind of a thing, in which that when you are looking at somebody, and maybe holding up a card, let's say for an example, as you're talking with them, and then you continue to hold the card, showing them as you're looking to someone else in the audience, and so you're engaging somebody else, and you kind of keep ahead, one ahead.
Correct. You move. Yeah, you turn and use your eyes to engage someone else while you're engaging the first person with the object.
But you've been doing a lot of silent. I say a lot. I mean, you used to do
I used to do a little silent. Yeah, and
so you know a lot about it.
Yeah, I mean, when I was growing up, the thing was really the European manipulators. Who, basically most of them work from a single pod, as we say, just a table. There was a single prop on stage, and you basically moved, 1 or 2 steps.
Kind of like a quarterback in the pocket.
Exactly. Yeah. You don't get out of the pocket because you don't want to get tackled.
Yeah.
That was the kind of thing. But then people started utilizing more of the stage, more moving the stage, and really the idea of doing the small space pod thing really was out of where manipulators were working in those days, which were, cabarets, nightclubs, and those kinds of things when there were such things.
Right.
So you had a limited amount of space in which to work. But then, when people started opening up, you had the Germans opening up, doing more full stage, a lot more movement, and then, of course, the Koreans kind of going back now to the single position. And that's as much for technical reasons as anything else, with the BA stuff they're doing.
Yeah.
But, good lecture.
It was a good lecture by Juliana Chen. So, so then we went from that
to... Before we talk about that, I wanted to talk about the Stars of Tomorrow show.
Oh, yes.
Because there were just some superb performers in that. Every year, Marlene Clark puts together just a roster of young talent. There were several Hawaiian performers, especially the MC...
what was his name?
Josiah. Yeah, really, really good.
Yes.
But they had a couple of young ladies on it doing solo acts. The opening act, Rina Kui, I thought was superb. She's a dancer and utilized her dance skills along with the magic. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Great stage presence. There was another young lady from, I think, Florida, Megan Warwick, who performs as Marvelous Megan, who did a lot of apparatus type stuff and did a nice job. But there was a couple, Alicia Pearson and Eric Nakamoto, who did like a whole. They called themselves the Card Masters, I think, and it was just a really charming and engaging, like a repartee between the two of them. He was trying to be the con man. She's like a magical fairy kind of creature, and that was a lot of fun. And they just showed a lot of personality, great movement on stage,
and finished with a shadow box illusion.
No. That was Landon Espiritu.
Wow, that was awesome.
That was another young Hawaiian performer who did some real nice silk work, card work, rings, and finished with a lovely shadow box. It was very different methodology-wise, and I thought a brilliant idea.
Tip over,
yeah. It was combining a tip over with a shadow box, and I'd never seen anybody do it that way. And kind of infinitely more practical than the standard shadow box. So that was really good.
No, years ago I had suggested that to Franz Ferrari, and I say years ago, this would have been like the early 80s, like 80, 81, about doing a tip-over sub-trunk. So,
right.
That so you could have another person pop out.
Yeah. That's a very cool idea. And people have done like back entry trunks and done that second person. So, there was another actor on the Star Smart show, James Irwin, who I think you know from Texas.
Yeah, his dad, Bill. Because James has won TAOM and several other trophies around. So
So really nice act, movie theme act. I thought he had some very, very, very nice ideas. So that was a good show. And they also had 3 younger performers doing close-up near the dealers' rooms. I had it yesterday, and they'll have it today again. Cole Lee, Anthony Stockton, and Danny Winter. Danny and Anthony are both Tannenkamp kids. And in fact, Cole, I think, was at Tannenkamp last year. So that was cool. We had the close-up show, the pro close-up show yesterday afternoon. And it was a nice variety of some very, very different acts. Gino Mozzarella emceed the show. They dragged him out of the Mob Museum to come on over.
A.K.A. Danny Archer.
Yeah. So, and I got to introduce him because, he's a South Philly boy. The show opened with Sergio Starman, who we know from Fectors, FISM winner. What a great act.
He reminded me so much of Jan Frisch. Some of the things he did.
A calm, normal version.
That's right.
Well, because his background is clowning and acting, and he really brought all of that to that act, and just very different, great concepts, really wonderful. We had Daniel Roy, who's from Philly, another Philly. He's not from Philly. He's from San Francisco, but has been studying at University of Pennsylvania. So we've had the pleasure of having Daniel in Philly for a while, and he is a techno card guy, doing primarily gambling stuff.
Did they say he won Magician of the Year or Close-Up Magician of the Year?
He won the Milburn Christopher Award for Close-Up Magic this past year. And for a lot of people that came out of the blue, they never knew who this guy was, but boy, he's terrific. I got to work a gig with him just a couple of months ago that was a fundraiser for one of the politicians down in Washington. I've met Dan before, but I'd never really seen him work, and he's really very smooth.
Good chops.
Very capable and very entertaining.
Yes.
Very entertaining. And he's been working at Smoke and Mirrors, doing a formal show there, so he's really kind of got the chops. Tony Montana from Spain, formerly of South America, another FISM winner in the mentalism category. Had some really good mentalism routines, but he finished with a version of the Winston Freer tile puzzle effect, but it was really nicely themed where the pieces of the puzzle had a photograph on them of his mother and father and himself as a child.
And that was great because it started with the photograph. You turn them upside down, then it gone through with the puzzle, and then when you turn it back around, put the frame, it was still the same.
It looked identical. Even though he added 2 pieces to
exactly. It was a beautiful concept. Hadn't seen that before.
Yeah, very cool. And the closer of the show was Henry Evans. And what do you say? I mean,
world class.
Yeah, absolutely. Just absolutely mind-boggling killer material. And the last 2 pieces he did are just absolutely impossible. He does this thing with 4 borrowed decks which are shuffled and cut by the spectators.
And I was one of the spectators. Well,
Right, yeah, you were up there,
and it was
Scotty.
in my deck.
Yeah. So you know it's on a gaff deck,
right.
and everything really looks like it's just being done by the
No,
the
it can't be.
spectators.
18? No, it can't be.
Yeah, and just this impossible production of the 4 aces, one from each deck.
Yeah.
It's just uncanny.
Yeah.
Really, really, really superb. And the finish thing with the bags around the neck, and I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to tell you what it is.
No, but I would say for those who had attended Magic Live last year, might remember that he and Cyril Takayami had a thing that they did together as well. And so that I think they called up like twice the number of people and did that effect. So for those of you who are listening who went to Magic Live but didn't attend the SAM convention here in Vegas, that was the effect basically with the bags around the neck. So I'll
Okay.
just leave it at that.
Yeah, I'd seen him do it at Fechter's and was just bowled over by it when he did it at Fechter's. And I was one of the volunteers
I remember
yesterday.
that. And the only explanation is he's a devil.
Yeah, I think so. He's a witch, burn him. Yeah, he doesn't deserve to live
In our world.
in our world. So we had our dinner break, and then we came back and we saw Scott Alexander lecture. Scott did kind of a hybrid lecture that was primarily about Denny Haney and the Magic.
Homage or
Denny
tribute.
Haney.
Talk about the book that he's writing.
Exactly, which, oh man, I'm just waiting for that. Scott was really Denny's protege. Scott and Puck were really his proteges.
And Alon knew.
And Alon knew to some degree. Alon was his assistant, and he had worked with Alon early on, but never really
But like
did
Scott and Puck were like,
yeah, Scott and Puck were the guys.
Yeah.
They were the boys. And the book's going to have everything.
Yeah.
The book's going to have
and he showed
everything.
some video also of Denny performing that I hadn't seen, like the Poconos back in '82 and that kind of thing. It was entertaining.
Yeah, it was very cool. He did Denny's Cards Across, which is basically his handling, a nice improvement on the Mike Zen's Cards Across with the cards and envelopes. Talked about Serpent Silk, talked about the egg bag, a lot of the ins and outs, and talked about, kind of the difference between...
and Johnny.
Exactly.
Johnny Thompson, yeah.
Exactly. They had both different thinking about how the bag was to be done. And, Denny and I always talked about it and argued about it. And, I
It's
respect
fun.
Denny for his opinions and stuff, but everybody's got to do it their way.
And then later that night, was that when the Rudy Kobe show was next?
Rudy Kobe show was last night, and it was in the old showroom.
Above the
old
buffet.
Exactly, right next to the buffet. Yeah, so you can get a little bite to eat and then go on the show. But, old, classic Vegas showroom. And for the show that Rudy did, and really, it was like, to me, it was like a step back in time. I mean, this is the same show he did 25 years ago.
That's right. He had a couple of things that I hadn't seen that were kind of new, like the
midgets.
the midgets, and also, the dead rock star.
The dead
thing,
rock star prediction, yeah.
Which he's going to be lecturing this morning, talking about that.
Exactly,
I guess.
just in a few minutes.
Yeah.
And I see up on stage, he's got the twister box, he's got the
Coffin.
The coffin. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting lecture.
But a highlight was Adam.
Yeah. Yeah. The extra act in the show was Nick DeFod.
Mm-hmm.
And, people have been talking about Nick and writing about Nick, but until you see him, you just don't get it.
The funny thing was I heard some people at the bar later saying, who was that guy? His name was, because they had ATOM, Adam, on the
Right,
back.
exactly.
Because Rudy's whole thing is about science.
Exactly.
And, had Nicky Terminator and all the rest of the people and whatnot. Anyhow, the fact that some people had not seen, who was that guy? What was his name? I said, it was Nick DeFont. Anyhow, then, he's tremendous.
He was brilliant. He was just brilliant. He killed. The one routine is just absolutely...
And he came here straight from the Magi Fest for this.
Yeah. Snowfest. So he really kicked it. And then the night closed with Harrison Greenbaum doing his adult-only lecture.
Yeah.
And adult-only performance.
Yes.
And it was most definitely an adult-only performance.
Definitely was.
Yeah. And he was in fine form. The guy, he's one of the few comedy magicians who approaches what he does not from the magic world, but from the comedy world. He's a comedian. He could walk out and just do stand-up comedy, and you would be just as
Kind of reminds
happy.
me of Amazing Jonathan, from the standpoint he may only do 3 tricks in an hour, but they're funny, and it's all the comedy that's
It's
around
all the comedy.
it.
But Jonathan was great. But Jonathan's act was Jonathan's act. With Harrison, he's just thinking on his feet the whole time.
Yeah. Oh,
He's
that's true.
picking up. The interplay with the audience. that shtick last night with the. Oh my
The guy
God! With the
walked up to him. Yeah.
walked up. The guy walked in the room. He was
5
missing his hearing aids, and it was like, what? And he did 5 minutes, and it was just pure gold.
I thought he was going to get a standing ovation just for that little routine.
Oh my God. The guy is he's in the moment, every moment, and just riffing on it. And he did a couple of pieces that I hadn't seen him done. Well, one piece I hadn't seen him do before that was really quite hysterical. But I mean, you talk about cutting edge and pushing the envelope.
You know what I heard last night also, that the theater probably wasn't but about a third or less full than what it had been for Rudy's show. Understand, of course, because there was an adult warning,
exactly,
and also because it was later at night, and there wasn't enough room in the parking lot for all the
scooters.
The scooters,
But and also, he did talk about that.
But one of the things I'd heard also was the elevator and the escalator was shut down. They said, no, the security said there's no more show going on. They're trying to get people out of there.
Oh, no.
I was talking to, Frank Seltzer said, no, they wouldn't let us back up. And he said, I argued for 15 minutes before they finally let us walk up the escalator because they wouldn't turn it on. They said, no, we're shutting it down.
Oh, my gosh.
And he showed them on the schedule. Anyhow, so that's why I think some people were unable to see the show.
Oh, that's a shame. They missed something absolutely just...
Yeah.
Absolutely
that was
superb.
really funny.
Yeah, and he'll be on the show tonight, the Comedy Cabaret tonight.
And
but it will not be the freedom of language that you had last night.
But he'll be able to give a lecture tomorrow also, which is
and
an addition.
This is a little surprise thing, which if you're here at the convention listening to this and didn't know, he's doing a lecture tomorrow. They had a free hour, and he volunteered to do his lecture on comedy. I've seen it 3 times, and it's a little different every time. And it is something that every magician who even wants to be an iota bit funny wants, you'd need to see this lecture. Because, again, it is the approach of a comedian, not a magician.
So if you're listening to this and you're anywhere near Vegas that you need to sign up for this one day, at least listen to his convention.
Come on in. It's worth it just for this.
Yeah. And then this morning, of course, then we had kicked off with Henry Evans, which we just finished, explaining some of the things he did, plus additional
They are unexplainable. I can't explain it. I cannot explain it.
Plus,
I feel like I'm listening to Ricky Ricardo, by the way, when I hear him talk.
That is funny. That's all Lucy.
Lucy.
But also he had explained some non-card things, which was interesting.
Yeah, also. I mean, his whole opening thing with the silk and he's got it's not just the thing, but I mean the variety of things to take one tool or 2 tools in combination and just the variety of things you can do with them. It's just great thinking. It's just thinking. And, people look at this and he does, it's primarily a card lecture, but he has stuff that is gaff to the hilt, but then he's got this stuff there's no gaffes involved at all. Right. It is just, psychological and forcing methods and things that are just incredible.
It is.
Just incredible. It was a great lecture.
Well, we're getting ready for a lecture right now, and things are getting ready for Rudy Kobe's lecture. And it's going to be starting in just a few minutes. And in fact, in 1 minute. So they're going to be calling us.
Okay.
11. Yeah, that's right.
I'm ready.
So that was Mark D'Souza. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate
My pleasure, Scott. Always
same time,
always
same place tomorrow?
Absolutely.
Scotty,
here.
So we just finished the Rudy Kobe lecture in which he was talking about how to be a world-famous magician, which was, it's always good lecture, but because he lives here in Vegas, it was kind of cool because he was able to bring a lot of his larger props, which he doesn't tour with when he normally goes out on lecture. But the person I've got then with me right now is the editor of the MUM, and if you would please welcome my guest, Alan Howard. Hey, Alan.
Hi there. How you doing?
I'm fantastic. So what do you think of the convention so far?
I'm enjoying it. Of course I'm enjoying it. It's a magic convention. How can it be so bad? It's always fun.
Are you having a lot of other people who are going out and writing articles for the magazine, or are you going to be...
just you. And now that you volunteered, thank you for that.
I opened my mouth the wrong time.
So I've been sitting around taking notes, and we've got people who are looking at things and maybe writing things up, and we've got a photographer. I've seen some of the pictures, and the pictures look really good.
Yeah.
So we're going to do pictures and some write-up, and I'm not exactly sure how it's going to come out yet, but we got time to figure that out.
That's right, and that'll probably, it's like about, 3 months because of the printing time behind as far as when they expect to see this?
Right now, as we speak, it is January 20th.
Yep.
And this is the day that our February issue goes into the mail, so it's leaving the printing plant today and heading toward people. Mm-hmm. So now we're working on the March issue, and that should be out a month from now. Okay. So probably SAM convention coverage will be in the March issue.
In the March issue. Okay, that's pretty quick, actually. Then, because, we are into February. It was February? No, we're January.
Today is January. The February issue is coming out because we're always a little bit ahead of the actual month.
Okay, that's right. And what exciting things have you got in store for this year as far as there are going to be some changes, as far as anybody who are regular columnists or adding somebody or something rotating out, or what's happening?
You know, an important part of Magic is surprise, and we try to keep the element of surprise continuing there.
Okay.
We have a few things in mind. There's one or two people here that we've been trying to hook up with for a while, and if I say, we got to talk, and now we're both here and we can talk. So we have some things coming up that we're not ready to reveal yet, but I think it'd be interesting. I think there's some fun stuff coming up.
Well, it's always a good magazine, and that there are a lot of good things, and so I know that some people who are not getting a hard copy of the magazine can enjoy this digitally, but actually those who do have the hard copy can still have access digitally. So it is available to any and every SAM member, whether or not that you get the hard copy.
Correct. Every SAM member gets access to it. You can have print if you want, and if you opt to just have digital, you get that. You get the digital whether you want it or not. It's always there for you.
Right.
And there are a lot of cool things in the magazine now where you can see it online and go click on it, and you get more stuff, more videos and interviews and extra things.
And that is through MagicSam.com?
Correct.
And then they're just follow the links.
MagicSAM.com. You're not allowed to say Magic Sam. It's Magic SAM.
Okay. You're right. Sorry. It's just like MUM. You don't say MUM.
Correct.
It's Magic, Unity, and Might.
Yes. MUM is not the word. It's MUM.
That's right. So this is your, I'm going to guess, just a second here, 6th year of being the editor?
It may feel like that to you. I've just wrapped up my 2nd year. So just started at the beginning of my 3rd.
Okay. And this afternoon, I know that we're going to be having the auditions for the Foolish, Penn and Teller Foolish show.
I'm looking forward to that.
Which Michael Close has been involved with, and I don't know what is he. And he, of course, was the editor prior to you.
Yes, he was editor for 9 years.
Yeah, 9 years,
and overlapping his tenure with the Foolish people, so he was doing both jobs, which is just crazy.
Do you know whether he's going to be here today? Or?
You know, I've not heard.
Okay.
There's a good chance he is. There's a good chance he's not. I can't even predict.
That's right. Well, it is kind of interesting that there are a lot of people who are here at this convention, because it is Las Vegas, who are not necessarily part of the convention. I mean, they're not lectures, performers, or anything necessarily. You know, like Jeff McBride. We just saw Spencer Horseman over there, who was with touring with Chris Angel, for a long time, and of course Michael Carbonaro and some other people who are here. So it's kind of cool to see just the other people who are, we're standing where I thought was going to be kind of quiet. We're near the servants' entrance, but they're getting ready for the banquet this evening, and the roast is going to be happening with Matt King, which should be kind of some fun.
I'm assuming that'll be very entertaining. Looking forward to that as well.
With Mike Hammer as the as a roastee, or I mean the
guest MC.
MC, sorry,
yes.
The MC for the roast. That'll be a lot of fun. Do you have any preparation whatsoever to do with the convention before it happens, or you just kind of show up as a
I just kind of show up, and they send me ads, and they send me some information occasionally, but the Mark Whitehouse has this fully under control. He and Mike Miller doing the booking of the acts, and I have nothing to do with that.
You lay out the program?
I don't do the program. I'm not even sure who did the program today. I know David Goodsell did it last year, and I don't know if he did it this year or not.
I always wondered about that when I see the programs, and thinking that would be part of the editor's responsibility, but apparently not.
Apparently not. Well, no one told me about it, and then one showed up. So I was actually looking through the program to see who did it, because I'm not sure. I have to ask about that.
Yeah, that was a good program. But it kind of had a feel, like MUM. That's why I was wondering about that. Well, it's great, Alan. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Have fun.
And I am having a great time at the convention, as obviously are you as well. So, for the Magic Word Podcast, that was the editor of the MUM, Mr. Alan Howard. Scotty out. All right, we're in the dealer's room, and getting ready soon for the auditions for the Penn and Teller Foolish show. But I'm running into the next incoming national president for the Society of American Magicians. This is Joel Batman Zarinsky.
How's it going, Scott? How you doing?
If I pronounce it right,
Zaritsky.
Zaritsky. I always have some problem over there with that.
Although everybody just calls me Joel or Batman, so it's fine.
I always know it as Batman.
Exactly.
Do you start now for the next year, or you're just...
Actually, we're probably going to get inducted in May to start in July.
That's what I was going to say, because we have an odd kind of timing for this convention as opposed to typically in the summer when the transition happens.
Exactly. So it's an unusual year.
Yes, right.
Yes.
So Steve Spence is going to continue for this, and then you'll pick up then in May.
Correct.
Officially at a meeting, I guess, the mid-year meeting.
I'll start in FISM and end in FISM, actually.
Okay.
So.
Well, that's kind of funny. Okay.
Yeah, I'll be the first, I guess, international SAM president ever.
That's right.
So.
That's it. Wow. Ever. Well, that's kind of a first.
Yes.
Have you got any ideas about what you have seen or done in the past that you would like to improve on, or the future, what you see as on your administration?
Basically, the focus is going to be on energy. The energy and of the SAM and what the SAM can do for you and to make you the best magician you want to be.
Okay.
Whether it be as an assembly, whether it be as an individual person. Building a better assembly has been my one of my pet projects. V1.1 has also been a little baby of ours that we just absolutely love. Increasing digital content, increasing things for the younger generation to come in and see the energy that we have here.
Yes.
Which is, and you could, even if you're, I know this is a podcast, but there's so many people in this room, there's so many people here at the convention having a great time. It's fantastic. We love it.
It is. There are like about 600 registrants or more, I understand, so it's really good. And although there have been jokes about a lot of us gray-haired people, and whatever who are here, I still see, like just around us, that we're having the Stars of Tomorrow who are doing close-up here in the dealer's room and out in the lobby.
Exactly.
So,
and you could be 60 years old, you could be 70 years old, but when you're here, you feel like you're 18.
That's true. Yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all little kids here. We're all kids. And that's the way it's got to be.
That's right. You can live forever.
Exactly. We'll never get old, ever.
What's been one of your favorite things that you have done or seen or experienced? Although we got the roast tonight, which is going to be great for Matt King, but and everybody will be talking about that. What have you enjoyed so far, lecture-wise or show?
Every single day, there's been something fantastic, starting with Jeff McBride's Wonderground. Mm-hmm. Jeff and I go way back. I got into magic because of Jeff McBride. He's the reason why I'm here today.
Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. We actually grew up in the same area in New York State.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
New York State. So, and he got, I got back into magic when I was 39 years old because of Magic and Mystery School.
Yeah.
Because of Jeff. And
he mentioned that you had gone to the Magic and Mystery School.
Yes, I go there every single year.
Do you?
To
get some fine tuning there.
Exactly, get some fine tuning. So it's been absolutely amazing. But the lectures have been fantastic. The shows have been amazing too, as well. And getting to meet everybody here has just been fantastic.
Well, Las Vegas is a great location, I think, for a magic convention, particularly because there's so many other magicians who are here, certainly, who may not even be registered for the convention, but may not be part of the talent that are booked to perform or lecture or whatever, but it's just kind of cool to see them. And that goes back then to one of the early conventions, probably my first SAM convention I went to in New Orleans. And I remember seeing John Carney and Max Maven just kind of hanging out. It's like, what do you guys, I didn't even know them. I knew who they were. They were celebrities to me, maybe I can go up and ask for an autograph or something, but I thought, when are they going to be on the bill? And I was looking to hopefully see a lecture. It's like, nope, they were just hanging out.
Yeah.
And I get that vibe here, too.
Oh, absolutely. We're here. I was just at one of the booths over there, and I looked next to me, and there's Michael Carbonaro. So it's just been amazing, you know?
Yeah.
We had Jeff McBride here. We had Dan Sperry. Everybody's coming out for this convention. It is.
Awesome. I forgot I did see Dan Sperry kind of hanging out last night. That's true. That was a great show last night, I thought, with Rudy Kobe, and then today his lecture kind of explaining a lot of things over there then as well.
Yes, and again, Rudy Kobe is from the upstate New York area originally there too. So
he and Jeff McBride were born in the same hospital.
Yes.
Just like next to each other, about the same time too.
Exactly right. Yeah, that's about right.
yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much, Joel. Appreciate it a lot. So the Magic Word Podcast. That was Joel Batman Zbrinsky. Scotty out.
Thanks.
So, Thursday night I did not have a chance to actually chat with Mayor, although I did talk with a few other people, and now we're in the dealer's room, and it's not as busy as it has been, but I've got a chance to talk with one of the dealers, Mayor Yedid. Hey there, Mayor.
Hey, Scott. Nice to see you again.
Good to see you as well, and you did a good job. I haven't seen your finger fantasies for a long time, and that's not something you kind of regularly do anymore, but you did that at the Wonderground.
Well, yeah, no, you see, the routine you saw is different from the one I do at all the Magic conventions.
Okay.
Because whenever I get booked at a Magic convention, they only give you so little time, and I can only do my 4.5-minute finger act.
Oh, okay.
So now I had a lot more time, so I threw in all the motivational talks about how, how it changed my life, and if you remember the pattern that I use within it, and the jokes that are built in,
it's very,
and I stop
very well.
and I stop and I start. So that's like my layman routine that I do at comedy clubs or cabaret shows.
Yeah.
And it's a great way to end my show because, then I talk about, my life kind of, and then I go into make my finger really disappear, and it appears in my wallet, and then I go do that joke about my car accident and stuff. So it just really flows.
Right.
So, but when I have like 10 minutes, I can do that routine. You never have 10 minutes at a magic convention.
That's a very good point. That's true. When you talk about actually, that reminds me that Fechter's one time, after that happened, that you took off your shoes and socks and you did the thing with your toes, and I'll never forget that.
If you get my new book, Finger Fantasies, there's a photo of me doing that at a Tannin Jubilee. So a funny thing about the toe act that I did, I only did it 5 times in my life. I did it at a Tannin Jubilee, Fechter's, Ron McMillan's in England, Magic Hands in Germany, and one other place. But hundreds and hundreds of people over the years
remember that.
Yeah, remember me making my toes disappear.
This kind of reminds me of Terry Seabrook had done a late night X-rated stag lecture or something. Apparently never to be repeated, but it's one of those things that everybody talked about, forever.
Memorable magic is really, I got very lucky with my finger stuff being so memorable. So even lay people would see me months and years later, and I'd be the guy, oh, you made your fingers disappear. Well, they don't really actually remember the finger disappear. What they feel, what they remember is when I cut my finger off, because it has an emotional, no matter how many times you see it, when I take a knife and jam it into my hand and you see the finger falling and bouncing on the ground.
It's funny.
It's just as funny. It's like when I do the twisting arm illusion. It's like it makes your stomach turn almost.
Wrench a little bit, and then it's like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, and you'll remember that. But anytime you could do magic that's memorable, emotionally memorable.
Well, talk about physical magic, as far as like with hands, the rotation and everything. It reminds me of something that everybody seems like does, where they say, okay, everybody clasp your hands, turn them upside down, kind of thing. That I think there should be a book out on physical magic. Things without cards, coins, anything, whatever.
John Fisher put out a book called Body Magic, I think in the 80s or 90s. There's a guy who put out a PDF with a lot of finger tricks, not giving credit to anybody. A lot of my routines are in there.
One of your routines I remember also that I thought was kind of a hidden gem that was tucked away was how that you were talking with your surgeon at the time, as I recall, that and about making the hair on your knuckles disappear.
Yeah, that's right. I discovered that when I was on drugs in the hospital that I had no hair between these 2 knuckles, and then everybody that walked into the hospital room, I started checking their hands, and nobody had any hair between the first and second knuckle of their index finger. So I made it into a telephone trick, making your hair disappear over the phone.
You just kind of rub
your
fingers, rub your knuckles together. And
all my new book, Finger Fantasies, the expanded edition, includes all of the finger magic I've published in all the other magazines and books throughout my life. It talks about my accidents, really like my end piece, my end game.
Yeah. I also must say I like your newsletter, too. I think you should be proud of that as well, because it's not just necessarily pitching something. First couple of paragraphs, like, hey, here's what I just saw, or I talked with somebody, I was just came from a convention, here's something kind of new that I found, or whatever.
Yeah, no, I over the years, I found my voice, and a lot of people, I never called that email a newsletter until people started referring it to that, because they said, oh, yeah, they read it, and they... but I think it came about because I really feel guilty trying to sell stuff to people.
Yeah, it's a good way of easing it into it.
Yeah, so I start out with a subject or a variation or, what have you, and then get into it. And the cool thing about magic conventions that people don't know is I very often, definitely here, I already spent more money at this convention than I will be making at this convention, because I already have tons of deals with a lot of dealers in this room where everything that's left I'm taking home with me. Whenever I have like a semi-exclusive, it's like my next newsletter is going to have the coolest marked card thing you'll ever see in your life.
Just a thing that from
England.
That Henry Evans?
No. This is a thing from England. It's you could read the marks of it. Everybody walks up to me when I have marked cards. I have bad eyes. I can't see. Can I see this from a distance? This is a marked deck. You can read every single card, value and suit, with your eyes closed and blindfolded.
With your eyes closed.
Yes, it's an unbelievable Braille system in an examinable deck of cards. I've never seen anything like this before.
And you're going to be having an exclusive on that through your
for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be expensive because every card has to be handmade. But but it's a beauty. I just saw it here. I won't tell you where, Scott, because I want people to get it from me.
Of course. And if people want to subscribe to your newsletter, hold on. Sorry, I just kind of paused that for a moment while I made an announcement. So if people want to sign up for your newsletter, how do they do that?
Okay, easiest way to go to my website, mymagic.com, and there's a link on top that says sign up to the newsletter. But now my company Facebook page, which is Facebook/MyMagic, I believe. But search My Magic on Facebook. That's my company page. You don't have to have a Facebook account to enter it. Right. I now archive all my newsletters there.
Oh.
And from each individual newsletter, you could sign up as well.
That's interesting. Yeah, I've got what I call a pod letter. I kind of coined a new thing as well. And I've got a lot of people who would sign up then also. And in my case, I'm not trying to sell anything except just trying to let people know what's coming up on the podcast in next week, and also what the current one is that's just being released, and also a suggestion from the archive. So if there's somebody I've spoken to that they need to go back and listen to then again. So, which reminds me that, I don't know, you're not going to have time while you're here, but perhaps when we get together in April, I do want to sit down with you for about an hour and actually...
Anytime, Scott. I mean, we've known each other for most of our lives.
That's, better than half our lives.
Way
right.
better. When Jeff introduced me on the show you mentioned before, we've known each other since we were about 15 years old, which is amazing.
That is a long time. Yeah. Wow, especially since you're 25 now. So
I know it's I wish.
You've got a painting someplace in an attic. I mean, you still look awful young. I don't know what you do. I don't know what you're doing it very well, though.
I live off the money of a magic dealer, so I can't eat as much as you guys.
Yeah, so remember that's mymagic.com. So
that's right.
Help feed.
Yeah, feed me. Fatten me up. Fatten me up.
Okay, and grow another finger. All right. So with the Magic Word Podcast, that was Marietta Scotty.
Scott.
Well, we just finished with watching the Foolish auditions, and there were two separate ones, which gave me a chance to go and get at least a bite to eat. And then I'm back in the dealer's room, and I can't go very far without always running into friends and someone who's also a dealer as well. Please welcome Losander. Hey there, Losander.
Hey, how are you guys?
Good. Glad to have you over here. So I thought you were at the Magi Fest because were you here from day one?
No, I wasn't here. I just arrived, and I did a show at Marvin Roy's Magic Theater.
That's where it was, because I was talking with James Demare, and Demare said you guys were hanging out. That's why
exactly
he was running late. Okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. What is that theater like?
Oh, it's fantastic. I love it. It's very modern and beautiful theater. You know what? I would really need to lie, but it has like at least 100 seats, I say, maybe more.
Okay, I didn't know it was about 100 or more or less.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Mm-hmm. And it's brand new venue, actually. It's less than 6 months old, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Right? Brand new, and the show was awesome.
And it's Jeff Hobson is the MC? Or
Jeff Hobson is the MC. Okay. And sometimes he does also his full evening show there.
Does he? Okay.
Yeah.
And so when you work, was it just like 1 or 2 days, or was it a week, or how long was your...
No, I started Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is a matinee show.
Okay. Oh, so it's not just evenings?
Saturday has 2 shows right now, and Sunday is 3 o'clock matinee, and then the other days is just a 6 o'clock show.
So when you're saying matinees, then is this like... where's it located?
It's in La Quinta, California.
Okay.
Yes.
So is it an older clientele, or say a matinee? I'm just thinking of.
I would say it's a mixed crowd. I mean, but yeah, you're right. The audience is probably like 40 and up, most of them. Mm-hmm. Maybe once in a while also younger people, but that's pretty much it. But it's really nice.
And a good sized stage though, at least for you to do floating tables and everything.
Yeah, they have a great stage. Yeah.
Now, do they like at the castle? Do they let you lecture as well?
No. This is just strictly performance.
Because they're they're real people, not magicians.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it a private membership or is it open to the public?
No, open to the public. Anybody can go in.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. I'd heard about it then. And so have you been on the road traveling much, or are you planning on doing anything?
Yeah,
recently?
actually, we're planning right now another Real Magic Roadshow.
Oh, I remember those. Those were good.
Which is really good. This was Mark Mason, Paul Richards, and Magic Smith, and Card Shark, and myself together.
Oh, wow. Okay. It's like a one-day deal?
Yeah, what it really is like a one-day deal. Is mainly shopping, but we have these pro tip sessions where we actually talk about our products. It's almost like a mini lecture, you could say. Mm-hmm. So it's all going throughout the day. All of us do this. It's like a 15 to 20-minute short session. And we talk about it, and then they can buy our products. They can talk to us in person, and we can advise them for the right stuff. So It's a real cool thing. Yeah.
What I recall, whenever that came around to begin with, is that you had a core group of guys, but then it also was somebody different. Like sometimes you'd come in, or sometimes it'd be Michael Weber who'd be there, or it depended upon their schedule.
This is the way Paul Richards created it originally, and we were all the same people. But then later on, it changed a little bit, and then I was gone for like 3 years on a cruise ship too,
that's
so that didn't help.
No, that's true. Now you're off the ships now, so you're on dry land for a while.
For now, on dry land, yes. But so if you want to know the dates,
please do.
So we have the first date is in Los Angeles. It's a Saturday, March 21st. Then we have San Diego. That's a Sunday, also March 22nd. Then San Francisco, Saturday, March 28th. And then San Jose, that's Sunday, March 29th. And
doing a lot of sands, sounds like San Francisco, San Diego.
Yeah, that's right. We have New York City, Saturday. That is April 4th, and Boston, April 5th. That's a Sunday.
So kind of going coast to coast, but you're missing the big part of the middle. So you're going to have to expand to our area in
and we're
Texas.
Very successful with it. We did all Europe already, and we already have done certain areas in America, but that's what we're going to do now.
If people want to find out more and get tickets in advance, I guess, and all that? So.
Yeah, absolutely. You can buy your tickets right now. It's realmagicroadshow.com.
That's R-E-A-L, not R-E-E-L.
R-E-A-L, magicroadshow.com.
Very good. Yeah. And do you get a discount if you buy advance tickets, or you buy tickets to
what it is, you really don't spend any money per se, because the money you spend now, you can fully apply when you buy a product. So you get a coupon.
Yeah.
And this coupon is basically worth whatever entrance fee you pay.
Right.
And then you can apply it when you buy a product and deduct it.
Yeah.
That's
so it's like a one-day mini
convention.
And
we have a super raffle where you can even win really high-end products, including the floating table and all that stuff. Yeah.
Wow. That sounds really great.
But that you can only do if you pre-sign. So the raffle only works if you pre-sign to the whole thing.
That's the advantage of registering in advance.
Exactly, yes.
That sounds great. Well, it sounds like the first part of this year you got it kind of already mapped out. So hopefully, I said, you kind of hit the middle part of the U.S. and the rest of it. Later in the rest of the year. Well, I wish you luck. That sounds fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Glad you're back on the road and getting this out, the product out. And then in between there, I guess you'll be at some other shows and other conventions. You're going to be coming up like, Magic Live.
Magic Live. I will be in Blackpool and a couple other, probably IBM, I think.
Blackpool's coming right up.
Yeah, it's coming right up. Yeah.
Very shortly, that as well.
Yeah.
That's always a lot of fun. Well, Losander, thank you very much. Always good talking to you. So for the Magic Word Podcast, that was Losander. Scotty out. So we were just talking with Losander over his booth, and as I kind of walk around a little bit, I'm over here now at Magic Smith with Chris Smith at his booth. Hello there, Chris.
Hi, how are you today, Scott?
I'm fantastic, and so I understand from what Losander's telling me that you guys are going to be going on the road, actually, kind of with the road show again.
We sure are. It never ends. We just got back from doing 6 cities in England last September, and we start here in the U.S. in March and go through April. We do 6 more cities here in the U.S., and so these are great shows. They're one-day events. They're practically free to the attendees. It's $10 to get in. They get a $10 coupon. We all do a mini lecture, and we bring our latest stuff. And usually, we're in pretty big cities, so you don't have to drive more than a half hour, 45 minutes to get to us.
Right.
And it's a lot of fun. We start at 10, end at 4. tons of magic, and then there's a drawing for a Losander table at the end of it. So
I remember originally that used to be like a Penguin deal, and they started doing Penguin Max, making it into a mini convention.
Yes.
So you're kind of going back to basics and kind of doing the one-day deal just again, right?
Yeah. I think what happened originally, Paul invented the Roadshow, Paul Richards, and then Paul, I believe, sold his shop to Penguin, and Penguin got the ownership rights to the Roadshow.
Right.
And so we did expos.
Oh, that's how it worked. Okay.
Yeah, we did expos for about 3 or 4 years with Penguin after that, and then they started doing something a little bit different, and we took about a year or two off, and then we reformed the Roadshows after that. Yeah. And so we're back to our original crew, me, Mark Mason, Dirk, and Paul.
Are you going to be going to Blackpool also as an independent dealer?
Yeah, I'm getting ready right now, as a matter of fact.
At least in your mind, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Well,
it's really hectic.
Yeah, as soon as we clean up here tomorrow, I start packing for Blackpool tomorrow because I have to ship ahead.
Yeah.
So, and Blackpool is the granddaddy, so you got to bring lots of stuff.
Yeah, like 3,500 people, bigger than FISM.
Oh, yeah. Is it 30? Yeah, about 30. Yeah, it's over 3,000, maybe 4,000. Yeah, it's crazy.
Probably. I was planning on going this year, but I was reminded that I promised my granddaughters that I would do a magic show for their Indian Princess Guide thing coming up.
You selfish man.
They're 9 years old, and as long as they like big pops and they want me to come and perform,
that's
it's like,
nice, man.
Oh, some year they're going to look back, and they're going to be too cool for school, and they don't want me. But now they do. I really think, okay, I can go to a convention later.
Take advantage of it. Yeah.
Pick your priorities.
Yeah, exactly. It's not always going to be true. So
but this should be really good. I think Lance Burton with Keith Fields and Fielding West.
They got a great lineup this year.
Fielding West and Keith West, sorry.
Yeah. And Lance it's going to be huge. That's going to be a huge draw. I've got a great table. They moved my table a couple of years ago, so I'm on the main floor.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it only took me 10 years. And looking forward to it. And bringing my heavy coat, of course, because it's Blackpool.
That's Blackpool in the winter.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
My dad was on
the coast.
My dad's British, and he was in the Royal Air Force.
Oh.
And he used to vacation in Blackpool in the 1940s and 50s. And he says, son, it has not changed one iota in the last 70 years. So, yeah.
He's probably referring to Blackpool as well. I mean, as far as some of the old
buildings.
That's
what he means, Blackpool.
Oh, I think he meant the weather and everything. So no, that's true.
No, it's like Atlantic City. It's this old seaside resort.
I see what you mean, sure.
Exactly. I like it. I mean,
I think it's quaint. I know, we don't live there. I mean, the guys locally probably think this is a whole, but for us, it's quaint.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah. Hey, look where we are. We're downtown Vegas.
Las Vegas, that's right.
Yeah.
We start to take this kind of for granted also sometimes,
Oh, sure.
But listen, thanks very much and good luck with that.
My pleasure,
I'm looking forward to you guys actually coming through Texas and the Midwest, because right now, as he was explaining, kind of East and West Coast and nothing in the middle states yet.
We'll hit them.
Yeah, I know you will. I know that, and if I can be of assistance, let me know if I can help you find a place.
Thank you so much, Scott.
So for the Magic Word Podcast, that was Chris Smith with the Magic Smith. Scotty out. Well, this morning we had a lecture by Rudy Kobe, as we had mentioned, and now I've got the man himself, Mr. Rudy Kobe. Hi there, Rudy. How are you?
Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. It was a good lecture. I was going to go over and say hello, but you look like you were just swamped over
I was
there.
swamped, yeah. Mob scene.
Well, because you don't lecture very often. How many times a year do you lecture at conventions?
I don't know. Maybe once a year.
I was going to say, not too often.
I did a full, a month tour in Spain, like accommodation shows, but yeah, not so much. First time at SAM, for sure.
That's what I was thinking then as well. And as far as the show, this first time I'd seen you actually do the full evening show. Right. At the castle where you were doing a show, but I mean, that wasn't like this show. Because here you live in town, you're here, so you could pull and stuff, which is cool about your lecture, because you could actually bring the Wheel of Fortune and all that.
Yeah, that was crazy. No, and last night, because anytime you're doing a show and you're doing an hour show it's just not, when Nick DeFont does a show, he shows up with a suitcase. When I show up with 3 midgets and, so it's crazy. But, so you don't get, people end up seeing your dress rehearsal, But having said that, the Golden Nugget crew was really super nice, and
Well, you got a lot to say also, and so I'm surprised you were able to actually keep it within an hour, 45 minutes or so.
I don't even know how long it was, but I think it was an hour. But right until we went on stage, we were I was taking things out, So it was fun to actually, some of the things I didn't do in the show, I actually brought down for the lecture,
And where are you going to be going after this?
I'm going to Rome for a couple weeks,
And you're going to be doing the full show there, taking all the crew and all your stuff?
No, I just did that 4.5 months in China.
Macau? It wasn't Macau.
China.
Was it with Franz, or was it?
No. It was Juliana Chen actually put the show together. It was amazing. And it was 50 cities in 4.5 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
Yeah.
packing and unpack, load and unload.
Yeah, one-nighters, too.
Yeah.
So basically, you just put the stuff in the truck, and you don't pack everything.
Yours is very visual, but even so, how is that accepted over there? I mean, do you have like an interpreter? And then as far as
I can do some of it, but this one, I only had one talking trick, but I actually cut it because the show was already long enough, Right. And but it was amazing. It was the first time. I've been there many times, but.
Well, they love anime, and you kind of are like a cartoon character anyhow,
But this was the first. I mean, it's funny because when I took the job, it was supposed to be 2 months long, and then it became 3 months long, and then when I was signing the contract, it became 4.5 months. So I lost all my assistants. I had to actually train people over there, So, and it was incredible. I used a Ukrainian dancer who now is Mrs. Rudikovi, but basically she became Nikki Terminator. She became Terminator. Yeah. But so that all worked out. But it was amazing is that China's different than it even was 5 years ago. Like even 10 years ago, 5 years ago. Yeah, it felt like Vietnam or something. It felt like Burning Man, like bikes, and it felt like, and it felt dangerous. You'd be backstage because it's communist. You'd have people with submachine guns backstage. So this was like
the military. Just kind of what were they guarding against? You taking something or protecting you? Or?
I think of protecting us, but also just want to see the show, and they're backstage acting cool, mostly. Okay. But there'd be a row of them, 20 of them, military backstage, in the shows.
Intimidating.
Yeah,
at first?
and then you want to take a photo of them, and they won't do that. But then they start seeing me walk around with the 4 legs, and they calm down. But so this one, each theater in the 50, I thought I would go over, and I thought it would be in hell. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to go away anywhere for more than a month anymore. But it was best theaters I've ever worked in. And that's saying something. 45 years,
Yeah, exactly.
Each theater was like an art. They looked like crazy art museums. From the outside, giant, and they'd be opera houses inside.
And they had big mega IMAX and everything also, right? Like very high tech.
Yeah, and because it's whatever, it's like communism is bad. We get all that, but at the same time, over there, I saw 3 homeless people in 4.5 months.
That's
2 of them were questionable. One was a definite one, but 2 of them were maybe just not well dressed.
In a whole country of millions of people. That's amazing.
Yeah, and you could see how the cities are designed, and cities. I mean, I would say out of the 50 cities, I've heard of 3. You know what I mean? So it was all cities you've never heard of. Each one. Beautiful parks, all the they'll have a downtown with big, skyscrapers, and all the skyscrapers have LEDs, but integrated. The whole city is on the same circuit, so you see, LED dragons, video dragons going across the city, So the same way, Tokyo, it was 20 years ago or 10 years ago. Right. China is now,
Wow.
And the hotels, 5-star,
How did you have time to actually do that? I mean, if you're going to have one-nighters and you got to load and unload, and then you got to rehearse and maybe get some local people.
Yeah, it was one of those things that I was very afraid of it because I have a lot of stuff. So most of it, I had a lot of help. So, but most of it,
I toured with you?
Yeah, there was. I think there was 30 people on stage, 30, 40. And I had like 6 people on my show, but they everybody helped break down.
Yeah,
and most of the stuff was just wrapped up and put on the truck. So a lot of my equipment got damaged from that. But you either are going to break stuff down for 3 or 4. I'm still breaking stuff down from last night's show and still, getting it out.
Yeah.
But there, you basically, by the end of the show, be like an hour and a half show, by the end, it was all loaded on the truck.
Right.
It was amazing.
Well, they're lowering the lights over here. We're getting
ready
for the...
I know, I'm excited.
Yeah, the Matt King roast. You involved with this as well?
I am not, and I'm very excited that all I've been doing is I see, because all my friends are, I'm just coming up and saying, don't hold back, don't hold back, don't hold back, because I want to see it. And I just want to say, is for my first time at SAM, normally, I'm so busy that I have to leave, but I'm actually going to spend here the next 2 days and enjoy myself.
Very good to see you, buddy.
Thanks you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
The
Scotty out.
Podcast. That's Rudy Covey, Scotty out.